Good evening, council members. My name is Casadino Starbuck Smith. We want to begin our vision for the city of San Diego, the kind of city we want to be and believe we can be. At the core of this vision is a San Diego where everyone has what they need to thrive, where young people are supported, where all communities have access to clean parks, open libraries, and streets we can move through freely, where safety is built through care, investment, and opportunity, and not falsely sold as surveillance and punishment, where our coalition does not have to return year after year to fight for a people's budget because our communities are already resourced and thriving, and the budget reflects what truly keeps us safe. That is the San Diego we all deserve, and that is why we are here today. We are members of the Community Budget Alliance, a coalition of San Diegans, young people, workers, families, community-based organizations, and labor unions, who come together every year to fight for a people's budget, a budget that prioritizes neighborhoods that have been historically under-resourced and overlooked, and actively dismantles systemic inequalities. We developed our priorities with a clear understanding of the city's budget reality. Even then, what we are asking for are modest, common sense investments that move us closer to the vision we've laid out. And to be clear, this is far less than what our communities need to build the San Diego we deserve. The mayor's proposed budget cuts the very services and programs that help our communities thrive and thus keep us safe. Libraries, parks and rec, youth services, arts and culture, housing, stormwater infrastructure, and climate justice investments, all while pouring money into systems that criminalize and surveil our communities. If we are serious about safety, then we have to be serious about what allows people to live, grow, and thrive. Now I'll invite Amelia to speak.
Hi, my name is Amelia Lopez, and I'm a member of Mid-City Can Youth Council. The budget is a moral document, a statement of our city's value. The mayor has a priority problem. He prioritizes punishment over prevention. Public spaces help us thrive. Safety lives in our public spaces. It lives in our parks where kids play, families gather, and communities breathe. It lives in our libraries where people learn, access resources, and find connection. They are essential services, not luxuries. We need to be prioritizing investments in these spaces, and yet Mayor Gloria cuts them. Our parks should be places where children play and communities thrive, not broken playgrounds and stalled promises. Right now, even small park improvements take years because of costly centralized processes. That's why we are calling on you to invest in solutions, like adding a deputized city engineer to the Parks and Rec Department to speed up projects and lower costs and make sure that every community in San Diego has access to green spaces. And safety doesn't stop at the park, it starts on the way there. We envision a city where streets that are safe, accessible, and built for people. Right now in our communities, families and young people are relying on volunteers just to cross the street safely. For $40,000, the City Council could install a pedestrian beacon near Rosa Parks Elementary and prevent tragedy. If this budget is truly about mission-critical services, then protecting people in their daily lives on their way to school, work, or home should be at the top of that list. We demand investments in pedestrian safety infrastructure, starting with this $40,000 beacon near Rosa Parks Elementary School, because no one should have to risk their life to move through their own neighborhood. We demand that you fully restore the cuts to the libraries, parks and recs, and invest in a deputized city engineer so that projects within parks and recs can be delivered faster, at lower costs, and equitably across our communities. And I say this with pure confidence, but without the library, I would have not gotten into a school with a pool ride. So thank you.
Hello, council members. I'm CJ Mendoza. I'm able to stand here today because my journey started at Bell Middle School with their Youth Social Justice program, while also being in theater class as an elective all the way until high school. I was an organizing intern at ASC and then SD API Coalition. I was in Pacific Arts Movement's Real Voices program, Class of 22, and have been their seasonal will call coordinator for 3 years now. I am now at Youthwell as an outreach and organizing intern and playwright, producer, actress for my independent production, How We Love Play, that was performed in City Heights back in March. I am only 22 years old. My work is not done yet, and I'm not letting cuts stop what I love doing, organizing and creating. And on my path of doing both, I've met talented, amazing, and powerful young people, which led to believing in them and their dreams. So when you believe in youth power, you'll believe in a future that's brighter, because that's exactly what young people do. Young people keep San Diego sunny, and we all have a part in keeping it that way. Young people need art and proper infrastructure to thrive, and we need programming to keep our dreams alive. The Office of Child and Youth Success is responsible for making sure young people can have just that. OCYS ensures young people have the resources, services, and opportunities they need to thrive. Many former interns have said the same thing about their experience with OCYS. OCYS uplifts the youth. And in order to uplift our young people, we need to take care of them too, properly. The youth drop-in centers fill the gaps the city leaves by providing services to youth in districts 4 and 8 to ensure they are taken care of. We cannot say we value children and families while dismantling the impactful systems that support them. We demand that you fully fund the Office of Child and Youth Success and deliver the remaining $500K to fund 2 youth drop-in centers so that our city's commitment to young people is real. We demand that you fund arts and culture with the $1,800,000 increase currently proposed for funding police around Petco Park special events, which should be funded by the billionaire-owned Padres team. Right. Because a city that invests in belonging, connection, and expression is a city that thrives and is safe for our talented young people. Now I'll invite Jessica to speak.
Hi, my name is Jessica Calix. I'm a lifelong resident of San Diego County, and I'm also a flood survivor from District 8. I'm a mom, I'm a small business owner, and former PTA mom. And I'm here to talk about the stormwater infrastructure. Safety means protection from disaster, from flooding, from storms, and climate impacts. When I envision a funded stormwater infrastructure, I imagine all of our flood channels in the entire county being completely updated so that when it rains, we don't live in fear, we don't have PTSD and flashbacks, because we're all still rebuilding our lives from January 2024. And every time it rains, we get anxiety because we know the flood channels have not been updated and we know it can flood again. So everything that we've worked for to recover could be lost. But that's not just for flood survivors, that's for everyone in San Diego. We all should be able to work hard, build up our families, and be able to pass what we build onto our children. But on that day, we lost everything we owned. We lost our home, we lost our cars, and we're still recovering to this day. This budget cuts stormwater investment, weakens infrastructure, and delays critical repairs when there's already a backlog of over 3,000 cases. And there's a little bit more about my story. I lived in Southcrest, in the community there. On January 22nd, 2024, it was a combination of an atmospheric river with failed stormwater infrastructure, and 1,500 homes across the county were destroyed, and even more cars. And the emergency services were completely overwhelmed. The entire day, if you called 911, there was no one there to help you. In the county, that's whether you're having a heart attack or whatever's going on with you, there was more people needing to be rescued than there were rescuers. So people were drowning in their living rooms, drowning in their front yards, balancing babies and pots on top of their heads, getting floated away in trash cans. And we still live with that trauma to this day, and it's very difficult to move forward and continue building because it weighs on our hearts, and it's hard. And how are we supposed to be present and move forward and heal when we know it could happen tomorrow? A storm can come, the skies can open up, and our whole lives will get destroyed again. So we cannot afford to rebuild again, and neither can the city or the county. And just the fact that there's a proposed cut to stormwater infrastructure, it's a slap in the face to our communities, to District 4, 8, 9. It makes us more vulnerable to future disasters. And it makes us feel like, we don't matter and that we're just going to get left behind. At the same time, it eliminates the city's contribution to the Climate Equity Fund, a fund that supports resilience in communities most impacted by climate change. Maybe we should change the name to change the name of the fund, like remove equity, and maybe Mayor Gloria won't continue to cut it. This is not preparation, this is neglect. And to me, neglect is abuse. And I'm a firsthand survivor of that. We know what happened when stormwater infrastructure is not invested in because it happened to us. We all lost everything, and we're still rebuilding to this day. We demand at least $100 million in proactive stormwater funding, restoration of maintenance and mitigation programs, and a full funding for the Climate Equity Fund to protect the communities most at risk. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Natalie, and I represent District 7. As you all know, I'm a mother of 4, and our EHV voucher has been cut. It will end this fall. Doing cuts away from the Neil Good Day Center, where does that leave my family and I? You're cutting to zero, the resources to zero, if you make those cuts. Over 7,000 unhoused people rely on those resources. And then we're going to budget to criminalize people like me and my kids. I don't see how that makes any sense at all. To be punished for situations I didn't create. Tell me how I explain to my children when those budgets are cut and we have nowhere to go. How do I explain that to my children? You can't cut the budget to the Neil Day Good Center. Thank you.
Hello, Honorable Council Budget Chair and honorable members of the City Council. My name is Linnell Hands, CEO, President of Giving Hands, nonprofit, and Director of the Mountain View Drop-In Center. I stand before you this evening along with many supporters to present my position and appeal to Council for reinstating the funds to the Youth Drop-In Center. My organization primarily services the youth. However, we provide services and resources to all citizens that come into the center. We don't discriminate based on age, race, gender, sexual preference, or residency. We don't discriminate at all. We are here to serve everyone. We're able to service residents in the community hours that the library and recreation centers are closed. Most importantly, we act first and address immediate concerns. We don't require completion of paperwork up front and priors and provide service. We're also on call 24 hours as violence interrupters because people are in the streets that need help that police cannot provide. And they do not call them, they call us. And we come and we stop things from happening. And there's not been a violence, a death in Mountain View in our area in the last 2 years, thanks to us. Collaborating with Mimi, collaborating with Stocks Memorial, and these guys right here listen to us, and we make a difference. And y'all don't see that. I wish you would open your eyes and know that this is very important. In closing, we understand there is a budget deficit citywide. However, it is our hope that the council, along with the mayor's office, will consider allocating partial or reducing funds or anything is greatly appreciated to keep our youth centers open. We will be available should the council or the mayor's office have any questions to ask us. We're sincere about this.
My name is Rashawn. And I volunteer at the center you was just talking about. That center really does help me a lot. It helps me apply for colleges. I also volunteer there as well. I help families whose first language is Spanish because I'm fluent in it. I help them apply to college a little better in school, help them get jobs any way that I can.
I think it's Spanish for me, 30 seconds.
Okay. Hablo español también. Fui a una escuela por 7, 8 años, so entiendo todo. Puedo ayudar a alguien, whoever you want.
Thank you. And I know we've only got 30 seconds left. Just want to say that if we're serious about building a city that works for San Diegans, we need to generate the necessary resources to do so. Something you can do right now is reform how golf revenues are collected and invested, restore the land use fee to 14.4%, make sure they aren't paying for their capital projects in cash. Let's resource that more equitably across the city, and let's ensure that revenue is going benefiting the entire city. I just want to say, lastly, this is our city, our public dollars, and our budget. Thank you.
Thank you.